The term 21st century learning was created as a label to use when speaking of change that needed to occur in the current educational system. This landscape is constantly changing and there is no one-size-fits-all. 21st century learning or future learning is a bundle of 21st century educational thinkers, ideas, beliefs, theories, concepts, and practices which are now entering the classroom curriculum. 6 key themes for 21st century learning. Theme 1, personalising learning. Theme 2, new views of equity, diversity and inclusivity. Theme 3, a curriculum that uses knowledge to develop learning capacity. 4, change the script, rethinking learners and teaching roles. Theme 5, a culture of continuous learning from teachers and educational leaders. Theme 6, new kinds of partnerships and relationships, schools no longer from the community. Right, bit of history. During the industrial age, schools and educational foundations were simulated around factory work. This created similarities between the assembly line and childhood education that still exists to this day. For example, children proceeded through education and still do in grades, just like an assembly line is split into particular stages. Everyone was expected to move at the same pace through each stage and conform to a one way of thinking. The industrial age believed that all schools would just fix children and learning should only take place in the classroom. As we have slowly discovered, the majority of our learning should take place in the real world. 21st century learning has made a progression to move away from a majority of teaching and learnings from previous times such as the industrial age. However, it has been a slow burn. There have been many reasons for drastic change, driven mainly by the realization of ongoing social, economic, and technological fluctuations and changes. Technology as a cause of change. Take technology for example. There has been some extraordinary leaps and bounds in this department over the last 20 years that has forced some serious change in the way we teach children and the way children learn. Teachers themselves have had to develop new skills and new ways of engaging children using technology. As the 21st century child finds this the norm, it is not uncommon for an educator to deliver a class through an online presentation format or to use a YouTube link they discovered earlier to consolidate the child's learning. Globalization, a cause of change. Globalization can be considered as the movement of goods, people, technology, and ideologies around the world. Globalization is a key driver for good and bad change in education. These dot points provided will show you this. Positives: children from all around the world could end up in your classroom one day. Creates ethnicity in the classroom and changes how we are going to interact with our students. Has generated rapid development in ICT. Now there are computers, iPads, interactive whiteboards. Revolution in communications allows students to talk to other students on opposite sides of the globe and interact in the same learning space. For example, mathletics. Negatives: has generated comparative education. This is comparing areas of education from one's nation to another. It is one of the reasons behind standardized testing. Standardized testing or comparative testing is a look in the wrong direction. It puts heightened stress on children and moves away from the improved teaching methods and styles. Shows the potential to revert back to the industrial way of teaching in developing countries as they are easy to expose. Less funding for government schools, more for private schools. Often supports the big guy and forgets the little guy. What we need to move towards: having the learner at the center of the learning, encouraging variety, multiple intelligence, divergent thinkers, understanding what real knowledge is and how we teach it, constantly reflect on theories involved in the educational process, be creative, produce meaningful and engaging content for kids to learn. Be inclusive. Schools are made up of teachers, students, parents. Schools need to become a mini community, which in turn creates a healthy social and learning space. 21st century learning and new practices. Personalizing learning is very self-explanatory. It aims to centralize the learning experience around the individual's needs, desires, and strengths. Personalized learning is not reinventing the wheel, however, there are 21st century modifications. It enables us as teachers to look at what new resources may benefit this particular student. It also allows us to create a strong relationship with the student, therefore they should be feeling valued. It allows the child to feel aware that their kind of intelligence, say for instance multiple intelligences, is valued by society. This often leads to the child reaching their full potential. This moves away from the industrial style of teaching, the one mind, and the two choices to engage or disengage and fall behind. Other examples of new practices: team teaching, collaborative teaching, and the flipped classroom. Classrooms are now being created without walls. For example, I was part of a grade 6 class that was connected to other grade 5 and 6 class with other surrounding classrooms. This allows team teaching and collaborative teaching to take place with classes working together on certain learning tasks. This is great as it simulates real-life situations and gives children early experiences of what it's like to work in a workplace. Alright, we're going to go over to a little consolidation clip I've prepared earlier.
Alright, so we're just going to do a quick recap on what we've looked at so far. We have globalization, okay? So that's the world. Remember, it takes on everyone's ideology, ideas, people coming to Australia, coming to different countries, their goods, etc. That in turn also brings technology. So with technology, we have computers, we've got TVs, we've got phones, okay? In turn, that comes with technology, we've got communication, okay? So with the communication, that links up to the teaching, okay, because it applies resources. Remember, we can get these awesome resources such as Mathletics, okay, and that allows you to connect to the next person next to you, to the next person in France. It's crazy stuff. Unfortunately, though, most of the time globalization supports the big person, and it doesn't support the little guy. With globalization comes the branding, so you can see a McDonald's sign. Alright, so no more industrial age teaching. So here we've got the little brain. Alright, we've got the little brain. Now we've got the big brain in the 21st century teaching. Okay, so that big brain is now getting bigger because we now have divergent thinking. Alright, we've got multiple intelligences. We've got personalized learning. We're learning how to teach children the appropriate knowledge. Okay, so what is knowledge? Remember, we looked at that. There is no more kids just sitting behind a desk. Okay, no more kids just sitting behind a desk and the teacher up the front telling them what to do. We now have students working together collaboratively, holding hands, holding up their learning, pushing their learning to new levels. Okay, it's exciting times, the 21st century. Alright, goodbye to the industrial age. Hello, 21st century teaching and learning.